Hey everyone, today I have the Eafengrow EF85, and this knife is one of my cheaper knives, but I love this thing. It's really small, compact, but it's a little on the thick side. It's a front flipper, super easy, and it's got bearings for a smooth flip out, G10 handles, wishbone pocket clip, and it's a liner lock. I think it's perfect size for my hand. That's why I really like this knife. But for how cheap it was, it's a pretty well built knife. It's got a stone wash finish, and it's a D2 blade. Some of the things I'm going to be changing about it to kind of customize it and make it my own. I'm going to be getting rid of the spine here, and I noticed there was a tiny little crack here. I'm actually going to be replacing the spine with some copper scrap tubing I had lying around. I'll actually be trying to put some jimping here on the knife on the front. That way when I hold it I can actually dig my thumb into it and get a little bit better grip. I'm actually going to be reshaping a little bit of the handles here. There's a little bit of a sharp high point right here. Rounding it off just a little bit to actually go with the flow of the knife itself. Both sides I'll be getting rid of this little groove here. Go a little bit more round here at the top, make it a little bit cleaner looking. And I'll also be adding a little bit of a angle here on the front of the knife, just so when I grip the knife it's not so high up, it's a little bit closer to the blade. And the other thing I will be changing is the G10 handles. So I actually purchased some Damascus micarta. This is what it looks like here. And this is what I'll be changing the scales to, from the G10 to the Damascus micarta. I think it'll give it a pretty cool look, since I'll be doing a center design in the scales. Kind of like the old one. I'll be doing my own design here on the center, and I'll give it a chiseled look to it. So I'll be taking the knife apart with my Oriya toolkit. Again, this thing has the hardened tool bits. That way they can take a little bit of abuse. So I'm going to be using the T6H bit and the T8H bit, since there's two different size screws on this knife. Alright, let's start taking it apart. For the liner lock, both sides I'll be giving them a cleaner look to them. And with these other metal parts, including the blade itself, I'll actually be darkening these and giving them a new stone wash finish to them. As for the original spine, you can see the crack that was here in the front. I do like this, it's just I'm going to make mine out of copper just to give it a pop of color on the back. Alright, now that the knife's all taken apart, we can get started. Now that I have all the parts customized to what I wanted, I'll just give you a quick walkthrough of what I did. I used the Damascus micarta, and I think it turned out pretty cool. I did the kind of chiseled or rock design on the center of it, and then I rounded out the sides, the outsides of the scales. Did it on both of them, obviously to have the match. You can see how the light hits it in different angles, that chiseled look. And then I darkened the edges of the liner lock, and I did it on both insides, so I gave it kind of a darker finish to it. And then I wanted to give it an etching. I didn't have any of the ferric chloride, so you saw in the video I just gave it a heat treatment, and it just it darkened it, but it also gave it some color too. It's not the exact finish I wanted. I did order some ferric chloride, and I'll probably do it later on and actually etch the metal with the ferric chloride. And then I also did it with the wishbone pocket clip, and then I did the same for all the little nuts and bolts on the outside. And then one of my favorite things that came out really well was the copper spine. So I gave it a nice polish on the grooves that I created. And then I did some under as well. These aren't going to be seen as much, but when you get to hold the knife and actually get to observe it a little bit closer, you'll be able to see the little small touches. But this is my favorite piece about this knife. And then I also gave it a satin finish on the outside, just so I have contrast with the polished edges. So now that I have all the parts here, I'm going to assemble it with my Oriya toolkit. And again, we're going to be using the T6H and the T8H bit, since there's two different sizes. Okay, let's put this thing together. Alright, there it is, all put together. A little on the dark side, but that's kind of what I was going for. It still functions well. See if it still flips out easily, thanks to those bearings. And this copper really pops. I'm kind of glad I went with a copper spine. Just looks way better than the old one. So like I said before, all the metal that was kind of on the outside was darkened. Again, I didn't have any ferric chloride, but the heat treatment kind of did what I wanted, but I could always change it in the future. So yeah, it still closes smooth. And then the jimping I did on the blade here turned out really well too. I kind of gave it a rounded edge on the top, just so it's a little bit smoother. And with those, I can still get a good grip, and my thumb actually digs into the jimping, so I get better grip. And I added some back here as well, so that way if you don't have a high grip, you still have some grip. And then on the inside, the copper still pops. Again, it's not really going to be seen, but that's what makes a knife kind of custom and your own. So when you put these little touches, I think it looks really good. So that's the Eafengrow EF85. So let me know what you guys think of this knife. You can leave me a comment down below. And please don't forget to subscribe and like. And feel free to share this video. Thank you for watching.